Alrighty, we are live. Evening. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to DuePoint. Welcome to everyone who's tuned in around the country on our live stream. My name's Rob van der Bijl. I'm one of the executives here at DuePoint, and you're going to be spending the next 45, 50, 55 minutes with me this evening as we go through who DuePoint is and what we do. And then after the presentation, you're welcome to come chat to me. I think Lynn's here as well. Come ask us any questions that you might have. We'll be glad to answer those for you. So let's begin. You're at DuePoint's head office. We're actually a division of another business called Constantia Insurance Company Limited. They are a registered insurance company in South Africa. So there's very few of those actual registered insurance companies. Constantia is one of them. That's their building in the background. That's their logo. You might recognize it, you might not. They don't typically deal with consumers like you and I. They typically deal with other businesses, other FSPs. The FSP number that we operate under is that one over there. You'll notice in our foyer above the water cooler, we've got all these certificates framed and up on the wall. Those are our FSP licenses. Go take a look at those. We've got a short and long-term insurance license. We've got an investment license. We've got our FSP license. And then we've also got some accreditation with the DSA and the DMA, the Direct Selling Association and the Direct Marketing Association. Why all this accreditation? Well, one, it's compliance with phase, with the FSB, and two, we want to build credibility with our audience. We all know there's plenty of these schemes floating around South Africa. I remind you, this is a business that's nearly 70 years old. We're a very reputable company. We listed on the Joburg Stock Exchange under a company called Conduit Capital. And at this stage of the presentation, when you're looking at a company that perhaps you don't know much about, it's very important to us to build some rapport with you and credibility. We want you to trust the business that you're going to be looking at getting into partnership with. So it's very important for us. These are the individuals here at DuePoint, at least the executive and the management team. So you can see just at first glance that it goes from the short people to the tallest, from the ugliest to the best looking. See, Brendan's out the room, I can say that. But our mandate here is to support the people that join us in this business, our wealth engineers. We call them wealth engineers. The three characters on the far left are all registered chartered accountants. Brendan is our senior executive. He heads up this business. He's got a lot of experience in financial services, particularly in insurance, because his family's been entrenched in insurance his entire life. Him and his brother founded Prime Meridian Direct, which is a very successful short-term insurer down the road. So they've got a lot of experience and a lot of success in financial services. Tim comes to us from a corporate banking background. He was fairly high up in the First Rand Group, a very large banking organization, and reported directly to the CEO and the board of executives there. And he kind of deals with all the regulatory, the auditing, and the financial aspects of our business. Stacey supports him in that. Stacey's got a lot of experience in auditing. She worked for Deloitte locally as well as abroad. And then the best looking, Jane's actually taller than the accountant. She's just standing further away from the camera. But the taller and the better looking people, we the non-accountants in the company, we're the personality of DuePoint. Jane's got a lot of experience in direct marketing and direct selling. She's actually from the UK, but she brings a wealth of experience in that light to this business, and that's very good for us because our growth in this business is predicated on direct marketing and direct selling as an insurance company. Myself, I've got a lot of experience in marketing and advertising. I worked primarily in the digital space for most of my working career. I started a company at a fairly early age and ran that quite successfully for about 20 years. We operated also very much in the financial industry, worked with a lot of the big brands like FNB, Investec, Absa, Standard Bank, a lot of those. And I then exited that business a couple of years ago and joined the team at DuePoint. Okay, so I remind you again, our mandate here is to support our wealth engineers, so the people that get involved in this business. We have common interest with you because as a business, we can only be successful if the people that are partnering with us are successful. So again, along with the credibility of the business, at this stage of the presentation, it's important for you guys to trust that at least the people that you're getting into partnership with have a vested interest in your success in this business. Okay. So, why are you here? How many guests do we have in the room? Just a quick show of hands if it's your first time here. It's the only question I'm going to ask you. Don't worry. It's not a show. It's a presentation. Welcome. What is the premise? I always like to kind of understand what behavior drives people to come to some office in the middle of Bryanston on such a cold evening, rather than being at home in your slippers, shouting at the wife or husband to bring you some hot chocolate maybe watching Generations, right? There are better options than being here. But what drives this behavior? So I like to discuss a couple of driving factors that I think are driving factors to this type of entrepreneurial interest that you are all showing this evening. I assume the person that invited you here gave you some kind of premise to what this was all about, a financial opportunity. They might have said to you, are you interested in making more money? They might have been as blunt as that, and I assume you said yes. I hope they didn't say to you, there's free tea and coffee, let me take you out. And then they suddenly push you into a presentation room. Okay, so the driving factors that I like to discuss, there are actually three of them. So the one is the economy. The economy is something that we don't have control over, unfortunately. That can be very frustrating because the economy at the moment is absolutely dismal. If you look at the rolling growth rate of South Africa for the last 5 years, it's been sitting at under 1%, which is absolutely shocking. If you had to look at any business and look at the growth of the business, as a shareholder, you would expect at least 10%, 10, 20, 30%. Right, your return on a business. When you look at a country, it's not dissimilar to looking at a business. When they show you a 0.3% growth rate, you're going to look at that business and go, I don't want to invest in this business, right? So the economy plays out in a host of factors. We see 9 million people unemployed. We've got kids, nearly 1 million kids coming out of school every year into a work environment that's not employing. There's no investment being put into infrastructure. We've got companies that are surviving instead of thriving, and we see this play out in our lives in the form of unemployment, like I said, and also retrenchment, right? So you might think, oh, well, I've got a job. I'm not one of those 9 million. And you think you're probably quite clever, right? I think I'm quite clever. I'm not going to get retrenched. But let me tell you, everyone is at risk of getting retrenched. How do I know this? Because my wife's a labor litigator. She works for the biggest private employer in the country, 160,000 staff. And she oversees all the labor issues and the labor regulation in her business. And they're a mining company, so they're in survival mode, and that has entailed retrenchment over the last few years. And we think, oh, people getting retrenched, the ones that don't, maybe they don't have degrees, or they're not formally educated, or the people right at the bottom. Let me tell you, she's retrenched the entire sphere of people that work at her business, from people that she sits next to in head office. We're talking about people with 1 or 2 professional degrees, people that have done well at school, got to university, did professional degrees, joined one of the most successful, oldest companies in the country. Do you think they felt safe? Do you think they felt, well, I'm safe. I've got the degrees, the formal education, joined a big company, I'm clever. Talking about geologists, doctors, accountants, lawyers. She's retrenched all of them. My point is, in an economy like this, nobody is safe from retrenchment. You're not safe from the statistic that is exacerbating itself across our country. Then the other aspect that I'd like to discuss is debt. Now, debt is something we certainly have control over, right? No one forces us to take out debt. We contractually agreed to take out debt. We get a lot of scary statistics from the FSB that paints a picture of what personal finance looks like for individuals in South Africa. And debt certainly exacerbates a person's financial position, especially in an economy like ours, right? Because you might be thinking, well, I've got a job. I can afford the debt that I entered into, right? Who would jump into debt not knowing that they're not going to pay it? But let me tell you this. Let's say, for example, you go, okay, right, I'm going to buy the house. And let's see, we've got a couple of illustrations here. Because you're afforded debt at a young age, and the moment you are employed and you get a salary, then a financial service provider is happy to give you debt, right? Because they can depend on you getting a salary. And if you're getting a salary, they go, right, that person's going to pay me the debt that he owes me, okay? And we're afforded this debt at a young age, like I said, when you start earning a salary, and the different debt instruments that we engage with are varied. So now take most people in South Africa, for example. You start earning a salary, let's say 5 years back, and you decide you're going to engage in certain debt. Credit cards, home loans, car loans, there's lots of typical debt instruments that South Africans engage in. And then for the last 5 years, you haven't got an increase in your salary. Because most companies in South Africa are trying to survive. They're not thriving. Inflation is sitting at what? 8% annually? So for your salary to remain the value that it was 5 years ago, you should have got an increase in your salary of 8% every single year. Did everyone get that? Definitely not. On top of that, did interest rates go up? Interest rates went up. What happens when interest rates go up? the cost of your debt becomes more expensive. If you were spending 50% of your salary on debt repayments 5 years ago, and interest rates have gone up a couple of percent in the last 5 years, now you're paying 52% of your salary. Oh, but hold on, you didn't get the 8% increase every year. So your salary is actually devalued against the cost of living. And now suddenly we find ourselves in a position where South Africans aren't able to meet their financial responsibilities every month. Do you know that 50% of South Africans that are got debt are under debt review? 50% of them. That's 50% pretty much of the entire earning population that can't keep up with debt. They've missed 3 payments to a financial institution in a row. That tells me they're not able to keep up with their responsibilities every month. This is cost of living. We're talking about sending kids to school, putting groceries in the kitchen, right? It's not just about spending money, credit cards, clothing accounts, that type of thing. I think there are a few people with Woolworths accounts that are paying for food that they ate last year, right? But this is what South Africans are facing. So debt certainly exacerbates your position, right? Then we've got another thing, creeping up on us every single year. In your 20s, you probably don't think about it. In your 30s, it certainly starts to get picked up on your radar. In your 40s, you probably start thinking about it a little more seriously. And when you're in your 50s, you probably start to panic about it. There's a little thing called retirement. Retirement is the same as retrenchment or unemployment, right? Same effect. When you retired, you don't earn a salary at the end of the month. And I know in an economy like this, often companies will push people into early retirement. So you now thinking, oh, you're going to create this investment for your retirement till you're 65, and your company says, oh no, you're 58. You're going to be retired soon anyway. Why don't you take early retirement? We'll give you a package. So look at the figures. This was published on the Fin24 website in September. It's not our data. It was predicated on the rising mortality rate, right? So rising mortality rate certainly has an effect on retirement planning, because in the old days, currently, people dying today in South Africa are living till the average age of 74, at least for women. Men die a little sooner, I think out of choice. But the rising mortality rate is getting greater and greater every year. So kids being born today are probably going to live in excess of 100 years of age. Currently in South Africa, there's over 4,000 people that are over 100 years of age. Right? That blew my mind. I was like, 4,000 people over 100 years old. I want to take what they're taking. Right? So we've got this rising mortality rate. How does it affect your retirement planning? Because when you go sit with a retirement planner or a wealth planner or a financial advisor, they're going to say to you, how much money do you need to get by with once you're retired? And you'll give them a figure. And they'll say, okay, right, how old are you? When do you expect to retire? Okay, this is how much money you need to save every month to get to this position that'll pay you out that money that you need to get by every month. But has he taken into account that the mortality rate is increasing, right? Because if people currently today are dying at the average age of 74, but us in the room, we're probably going to live to 90. Now your retirement savings doesn't last you 10 to 15 years. It needs to last you for 30 years, right? So it has a dramatic effect on retirement savings. So this is predicated on you living 30 years in retirement. You want to earn 5,000 Rand a month? You needed to have saved or invested R1,000,000 in cash. You need R1,000,000 sitting in an investment or a bank account that will afford you an income of 5,000 Rand a month. No one looks at the first example, right? Who wants to live on 5,000 Rand a month? 26,000 Rand a month. You need to be in a position where you have an investment of 5,000,000 Rand. How do you get to that? Well, if you're under the age of 25, you can engage in typical retirement planning, right? Because you've got time on your side. You know, us 40-year-olds, we don't have time on our sides. We've got to start thinking up wonderful ideas to come up with the money. Because for 40 years, you can put 4,000 Rand away every month. Every month for 40 years. And it'll put you in a position where you've created a 5,000,000 Rand investment, which will pay you out 26,000 Rand once you're ready to retire. Is anyone doing this? People aren't doing this. Do you want to know what proportion of South Africans get to retirement financially independent? 2%. So there's about 30 people in the room. Maybe someone's leg will retire financially independent. The rest of us are going to get to retirement, realize we haven't done enough to put ourselves in a position of financial independence. And then what has to happen? Become a burden to your kids, your family. You've got to downgrade your lifestyle to such an extent that you can get by. Does not paint a pretty picture. It doesn't. The average South African only starts investing or should I say saving and investing, putting money into investment instruments at the age of 50. The average South African. The rest of the time they're in debt. When they get to 50, I think they panic and go, right, all the money goes into investment now because we've got 10 years to make this right. I think it only becomes possible because you only pay your bond off when you're around 50 years of age. If you get to take out a bond in your 30s, what's the typical bond term we go for? Why do we go for the 20-year bond? Because we want the biggest house we can afford with our salaries, right? You can get a 10-year bond. Did you know you can get a 10-year bond? We go for the 20-year bond. Kids, you know those short people that run around in your house? The financial burdens? Guess when they get out of school and hopefully through varsity and stop becoming financial burdens? Probably when you're in your 50s. And so we see the majority of South Africans only putting money away properly for savings and investments when they're in their 50s, which is obviously far too late because only 2% of the people are retiring financially independent. So out of all this negativity, we're done with the negativity, we come up with a solution. What's the saying? I don't want to hear your problems, I want to hear solutions. Well, we came up with a solution. We, as an enterprise, as a business, we saw the opportunity to create a platform that the average South African can engage with to change the situation for them, to empower themselves. So last year in February, we launched the DuePoint system. It has 3 aspirations or goals for the wealth engineers that get involved with this business. The first one is to see you become debt-free, right? Debt is a massive exacerbator of just financial burden for South Africans, right? We want to break you out of that cycle. Our first goal is to see you become financially free, debt-free. No debit orders going off at the end of the month. You own your house, you own your car, you pay for your kids' schooling a year in advance. You don't have clothing accounts, or Woolworths accounts, personal loans, educational loans, none of that. The amount of money that gets paid into your account every month stays there until you decide what to do with it. Isn't that novel? Because what happens currently? The salary goes in, and you see the debit orders. Ding, 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 ding. And then you wait for the debit orders to stop on the 3rd or 4th, and you go, oh, that's how much money I have left over for the month. And then you try to survive the month, right? So we want to see you debt-free. The second aspiration is to see our wealth engineers start engaging in a true investment. Something that you can look forward to, something that you can depend on, not in the short term, in the long term, okay? And then the third aspiration is to see everyone smiling a little more. I know we're all suffering. It's at the end of the month. I don't see too many smiles in the audience. But if you become debt-free and you're only putting money into investments and savings and putting money where you want it, I promise you at the end of the month you're going to be smiling while everyone else is grimacing. And that's what we want to see, really, because we want to change our position, right? We're here this evening to look at something that can potentially change our position. And not only for you, for your family, and perhaps even generations to come. So how is this all done? Our guests here this evening, you got the opportunity of joining DuePoint. You actually contract with us. When you contract with us, we call you wealth engineers appropriately. And as wealth engineers, we want you to do one thing, and that is to go out and build what we call channels of distribution. And I will show you what a channel of distribution looks like. And through these channels of distribution, these people that you introduce to us in these channels, we will attempt to place product with these people that you introduce to us. And that is basically how this entire business works, as simply as that. The benefit for you is that you get to create additional income stream for yourself, right? This is obvious. This is why you're here. It's not for the free tea and coffee. It's for the potential of creating additional income stream. The system is not designed to replace your day job. It's not designed to replace your salary. It's there to supplement it. Remember, we're trying to pay your debt off as fast as possible. You can't do that with a single line of income. The second line of income allows you to put more money into those debt instruments. And I'll illustrate that point to you a little later. The nature of our business is recurring income. So this is an awesome benefit. It is an awesome benefit. This is probably the reason why I left my business after 20 years. I could not create recurring income in my business. We sold time, services. At the end of every month, I would have to start at zero. Every single month started zero again. Nothing was guaranteed for that month unless I did the sales, did the work, and invoiced it. And when everyone goes on leave, do you think we generated money when all the staff went on leave in December? Nothing. We generated nothing. So we spent the whole year trying to build up enough funds to get us through December and January. And that was the cycle that we were in. Year after year after year. 20 years before I actually figured out that this just was not the clever way to work. My father even told me when I was young, make money when you sleep. I didn't realize he was talking about create recurring income. He was talking about create an asset that works for you instead of slaving for 40, 45 years for a salary. That's what he meant. This business allows you to take advantage of that. You get to also harness the power of duplication. So what is that? That is leverage. It's leverage. Don't restrict yourself to the 8 hours you have in a workday. Don't. CEOs don't. Why does a CEO get to pay himself so much money, give himself such a big bonus at the end of the year? Because he's leveraging all the staff that work for him. Right? He's got the same amount of time in a day as you and I. The difference is he's leveraging. This business allows you to leverage. These channels of distribution are you building teams that collaborate with you. So now you've got a team that's collaborating with you. You've got a team that's investing into this business that you have ownership over that pays you a recurring income. The more people collaborating with you, the more potential you have of a greater recurring income. Okay, so you get to leverage your time. That's flexi time. Sorry, I nearly jumped to the next point. Now, this is a bit of a fickle point because people go, flexi time, I can do it in my spare time, when I've got time. We don't have time. Anyone got spare time? They don't know what to do with themselves? I am busy from like 7 o'clock in the morning when my daughter wakes me up until I go to bed. I've got exams tomorrow, I've got business, I've got family commitments. We don't have time. If you want to be successful in this business, you have to sacrifice time. And this is really the decision I'm going to press you to make at the end of this presentation. If you are interested in this business, I want to know in 30 minutes' time, when the presentation's done, how this business is going to fit into your week. It's not flexi time in terms of, I've got some spare time to do DuePoint. You need to commit time to this and have decided in your head, right, it's Saturdays for me, it's Sundays, it's every night of the week, it's only Tuesdays and Thursday evenings. Decide that. There's no way around it. Startup capital, no startup capital required. There's no joining fee or registration fee in this business. There's no boxes of product that you have to buy to get involved in this business. So we make it as accessible and low risk as possible. No qualifications or experience. This exam I'm doing tomorrow is because I have to qualify to work in a financial services business. You don't have to worry about that. We actually contract you out of that obligation. Right? So again, more accessibility for more people. You get to build an asset. This is a very important point because if I propose to you that I want your spare time, the time that you spend with your family, time watching sport on the weekend, time sitting with your feet up watching Generations, that's the time I'm going to say to you, you need to give that time. You need to sacrifice that time for this business. At least have ownership over what you're investing your time in. This flies in the face of employment. If we're all employed here, we're all working for somebody else for our lifetimes. You're going to commit 40 to 45 years to someone else's business where you've got no profit share, no shareholding, no dividends, no say in the business. But we do it anyway. At least have ownership over the time you're investing in this business. And that's what I'm offering you. I'm offering you ownership over this thing that you're going to be building. There's no selling involved. I told you, no boxes of products. We contract you again out of selling. You should be happy. I should see more smiles in the audience because you arrived here thinking, what are we selling? Your first question to the person that said, do you want to make more money? They probably said, what's the product? What are we selling? I don't want to sell vitamins and supplements and shakes. There's no selling involved. The nature of our business being financial is that our products are financial. They're intangible products. We don't run out of them. They don't take up space in your boot or in your home. They don't expire. So we make this business as simple and as convenient as possible for you to engage in, and as low risk as possible. And this is all predicated through you going out and building what we call these channels of distribution. So what are these? They begin with you. Naturally, You become a wealth engineer this evening. You expected to go out and build these channels of distribution. All you're going to be doing is going out and telling people that there is this business opportunity that exists called DuePoint. That's all you're going to do. And when you're successful in that endeavor and you're able to get people to a presentation like this and we're able to place product with them, that is the beginning of your channel of distribution, right? So there you go. You've introduced 5 of your friends to this business. Colleagues, acquaintances, maybe even strangers. They are going to go out and do exactly the same thing. This is leverage. This is the power of duplication. And so you have this organic growth that potentially takes place in your channel of distribution. And after a certain amount of time, this is what your business can look like. You've created recurring income out of every single dot that you see on the screen. Recurring income doesn't pay you at the end of month 1. It pays you at the end of every single month. Month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5. You can be in a position where you can take 3 months, 6 months holiday, and this business will still pay you while you're on holiday. Right? Make money while you sleep. So this is what a channel of distribution looks like. But now I'm going to warn you. This is my warning slide, my disclaimer slide. See the pretty ballerina's feet? There's a pretty one and a nasty one. You go to the ballet, you get to see the pretty one. You get to see how beautiful and elegant the ballet dancers are, jumping around on the stage in the State Theatre. But to be a professional dancer, that is what it really takes. Maybe 10,000 hours of practice, right? Ballet teacher shouting at you, telling you you're overweight, experiencing broken toes, bleeding toenails, calluses, a deformed foot. That's what it really takes. This is what business is like. If you've ever had the pleasure of trying to start your own company, you will realize, you will appreciate how difficult it is to make a success out of that business. It is easy to start a new business. Go to the registrars of companies, register the business. Bam. I run my own business. Where's the money? Doesn't work like that, right? You can join DuePoint. You're going to get paid at the end of the month? No. Only if you're successful. There are too many get-rich-quick schemes floating around the country. Too many. I speak to many people that come in here saying, I lost money in this. I lost so much money in that. I'm thinking, how can you put so much money into a business like that? The owner's sitting in Russia. He's been to prison. You give him money. Right? You laugh. I don't laugh at them. I feel sorry for them. It again reflects the state of the economy that we're in, that people can be that desperate. Right? I remind you, this is a 70-year-old business. We are nothing like a get-rich-quick scheme. I will never promise you that success in this business will be easy. I'm going to tell you now, like I said earlier, it requires sacrifice of your time, commitment, persistence, and a long-term vision to be successful in this business. If you really want that, if you want to change your life from a financial perspective, that's what it takes. It's not going to be quick, and it's not going to be easy. Okay? My warning slide. Let's talk about how we pay our wealth engineers. We pay our wealth engineers something called a return at the end of every month. It starts with you, the base return that we pay our wealth engineers for every product that is in your channel of distribution. I'll pay you 27 Rand 50. Okay? But based on where those products lie. So remember the first 5 people you introduced to the business? Those people lie on your first point. They are 1 point away from you. And on point 1, we pay you 200% of that 27 Rand 50. So I'm actually paying 55 Rand for every single product every single month going forward. Remember, it's recurring income. Point 2, these are people you don't know. Maybe you know them. Maybe they're friends of friends. Right? But on point 2, the same thing. 200%, 55 Rand. You're getting paid 55 Rand for every product in point 1 and 2 in a recurring fashion. Point 3, the multiplier drops to 100%, so it's 27 Rand 50, and it starts gradually dropping the further the products are away from you. At point 8, it's 4%, but we don't limit you on point 8. That's important to note. So from point 8 onwards, you'll get paid that 4% for every product every single month. We don't limit you on how big your channel can get with DuePoint, and we don't limit you on how much money you can earn at DuePoint. The accountability lies with you. Is this a short-term endeavor for you, or is this long-term for you? Okay, so this is the mechanics of the returns. I think it's fairly straightforward. The next natural question we get is, well, how much money can I earn? If I get involved in this, okay, it sounds good, but what can I expect to earn after 3 months or 6 months, or you talk long term, how much can I earn after 5 years? So we put together this thing called the path to success, and it kind of illustrates this journey that you can go on, and it's assuming a certain growth formula. The growth formula is something that we call 3 plus 2. It assumes in your first month in DuePoint, you can get 3 people to join the business successfully. Just 3 in your first month. But every consecutive month thereafter, you only have to bring in 2 people. 2 new people every month after that, right? That's why we call it 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. If you can follow that growth formula, and it's just an example, if you can follow that, you can expect to be earning about 2,500 rand after 6 months. Now, I love this example. This is my favorite part of the whole presentation, because I look at the reaction when I say to people, 2,500 rand after 6 months. And I never hear woo or boo, or everyone's just quiet. Is it a lot of money? 2,500 rand? Recurring income every month from that point. I don't know, when I first saw it, I thought, 6 months of work for 2,500 rand. My time's worth more than that. But let me give you some context, right? What was the first goal for our wealth engineers? Become debt-free as quickly as possible. So here we've got an example of someone that's got R1 million debt. It's probably the biggest debt instrument you'll ever engage in is a home loan, because we just don't have money to buy home cash. So here's an example, someone with R1 million debt that he has, a bond, 20-year bond typically, right, that we all engage in. He's going to be paying back 11,500 rand for the next 20 years. So he's 30-something. He can expect to pay that bond off when he's 50-something. 11,500 rand every single month till he's nearly retired. But he joins DuePoint, and with some success, 6 months later, he's earning 2,500 rand a month. Does he go out and spend the money on a nice lunch? Maybe some shoes? Handbag? What do you do with the money? Put it into your bond. What effect is that going to have? It's going to drop the term from 20 years down to 11 and a half years. Little 2,500 rand is nearly going to halve the term of that bond. Instead of paying the house off when you're 50-something, you're now paying it off when you're 40-something. You become a homeowner almost 10 years sooner. How much money do you think you save? Any guesses? You're going to save 100%. You're going to save R1 million in repayments on a R1 million house. Does that give you some idea to what debt is doing to you in the long term? Give you some idea of how much money banks are making? Don't do it to yourself. Don't do 20 years of debt repayment to yourself. 2,500 rand will save you 100% on the value of that property. It is crazy. I didn't believe the example when the accountants came up with this. I had to double check it. You're welcome to go double check it. Go check it out. 6 months down the line. 12 months, you're nearly 10,000 rand a month, earning over 100,000 rand annually. Anyone get a 100,000 rand bonus this year because they worked so hard last year? No one? One? So you must never put your hand up. Everyone's going to come ask you for money now after the presentation. We keep going. 24 months. You're nearly 30,000 rand a month, right? Sound good? 30,000 rand annually over and above your income, your salary. That starts to become life-changing, right? 24 months away. 36 months, you're nearly 50,000 rand a month. You want to look at the bond example? Here's an example of a 5 million rand bond. After 30 months, you're probably earning 37,000 rand. You put that as an additional payment to your bond. You'll pay that 5 million rand house off in less than 7 years. I also like this example because I picture myself. I'm 40, right? Nearly, let's call it 21 years till I retire. I tell Brendan I'm tired of giving presentations. Everyone looks the same at me. Done it. But through DuePoint, if I get to create an additional income of 36,000 rand and I have a 5 million rand house that I'm paying off, and I put an additional payment into that house and pay that house off by the age of 47. At 47, I've paid a house off. I own the 5 million rand house. What do? Buy another house. Why not? Buy another house, second house. So I buy that house, start renting it out. When I'm 54, I've paid that house off. Now I own 2 houses, 5 million rand each. Let's do it a third time. buy a third house, 5 million rand. Again, paid off in 7 years. Now I'm 61 years old. I own 15 million rand in property assets. I'm living in the one house, renting the other two out at about 60, 70,000 rand a month. I have the option of selling all of them and buying a 15 million rand house on the beach. Do you see how the system is able to give you options? When we are in a cycle of debt, we have no options. You don't have option to get out of that cycle. You're stuck in the cycle. You need to wait for the economy to change, for your boss to realize what an awesome employee you are and make you a director, for you to win the lotto. These are circumstances I'm not willing to wait to change. Are you going to wait for those circumstances to change? The system gives you options to jump out of the cycle. After 48 months, you're earning nearly 70,000 rand a month, and after 60 months, you could be on about 1 million rand annually that you've created in recurring income. 60 months away, is that far? Too far to commit? Too long a time to plan for? 3 plus 2, remember? 2 people every single month. Every single month. I struggled to get to the gym twice a week. I'm on Vitality. You know, they want to kick you out the gym when you don't go often enough. I always get the email at the end of 12 months. You haven't gone to gym long enough. I'm like, it's only like twice a week or twice a month that I have to go. Why do I keep falling behind? Is 3 plus 2 too onerous? That's just an example. You can join, like I said, you can become a wealth engineer very easily and become the 0 plus 0 growth formula. And where will you be at month 60? Recurring income of 0. But you can do more. And we've got lots of wealth engineers that are doing more than 3 plus 2. They're not happy with 3 plus 2. They want to do more. Mike and Vilna, try work out how much their income has increased every 4 months. It's doubled. They managed to double their income every 4 months. Is that even remotely possible in employment? Not even close, right? We're begging for 8% once a year. Lydia did a phenomenal job at the beginning of the year. She joined the business in October, December earning 385 Rand. The space from December to March, she created 5,500 Rand in recurring income for herself. Think back to the retirement slide. How much money did you have to save to pay yourself out 5,000 Rand a month? Million. Lydia has created for herself the equivalent of 1 million rand cash investment in that space of time. In that retirement slide, it said, save for 40 years. Ruler Fourie, he joined us right at the beginning when we launched. He was pretty much not very involved in the first year. He was running his own business, sold his business in December, and only became engaged in the business in December. 12, 13, 14 months. Guys, my point is 3 plus 2 is only an example. The accountability is always going to lie with you. It lies with you. Your decision in how much time you want to commit to this business. No one is going to force you. I promise you, Brendan and myself are not going to force you to do this business. You're not going to get a phone call from us if you decide not to engage in the business once you become a wealth engineer. It is up to you. We've got hundreds of wealth engineers that earn a return with DuePoint every single month. Hundreds. These are not special individuals. We know people that have got doctorates in human behavior. They're normal people. Some don't have matric, some have got matric, some are formally qualified, they've got degrees, some don't have degrees. Some work in corporate, some don't work in corporate. Up to you again. Okay? Accountability lies with you. So that was the returns. Over and above the returns, we've got something called the XP Rewards Program. This is a rewards program. Okay? When you become a wealth engineer and you start engaging in typical wealth engineer behavior, I will give you something called XP. And when you start collecting all this XP and your business starts to grow, we give you rewards along the way. Okay? A side note, Saturday presentations. We are going to double the XP that we give you if you live stream the intro presentation on Saturday mornings instead of coming to head office. Head office is getting crazy on a Saturday morning now. We've got like 300 people arriving for a 100-seater, right? We need to disincentivize coming to head office on a Saturday. So I'm offering you twice the XP if you stay at home in bed and live stream from home. Okay? Just a side note. So when you're collecting XP and your business starts to grow, like I said, we give you rewards over and above the return that we're paying you every month. Okay? You become a wealth engineer this evening, you'll have the grandiose title of rank 0 wealth engineer in the XP rewards program. But very quickly you can get to rank 1. Very quickly. Within 24 hours you can get to rank 1 if you really want to. And when you get to rank 1, I'll give you a 55 Rand reward on top of the return that you get paid at the end of the month. And as you collect more XP and your business starts to grow, you start to rank up. And you see the rewards get bigger and better. 100 Rand, 400 Rand, 1,500 Rand, 20,000 Rand, 50,000 Rand. Okay? We give away tools that help you be more effective in this business. See, here's Patrick and Pumi with their lightning memory sticks, a little device that plugs into anything, tablets, phones, computers, laptops, TVs. It's got our video collateral on that little stick. So Patrick and Pumi can show the business to anyone, any time of the day, regardless of what device they have around them. Rank 7, premium business cards, 12,500 Rand business cards, 4 times thicker than a normal card. They've got a touch of black suede, like a velvet. They are gilded in gold and foiled in gold. There's no printing that happens, no ink on these business cards. Why? People haven't heard of DuePoint. You go outside to someone, oh, DuePoint, great financial opportunity. They don't know who DuePoint is. You give them a 12,500 Rand business card, a card that's 30 times more expensive than the business card they got in their wallet. They'll give you a little more credibility, a little more time when you try to explain to them what DuePoint does. Rank 9, this is one everyone gets excited about. Take a look at why people get excited about this rank. And this is available for everybody. No time limit. You can take all the time in the world to get to rank 9. Got one gentleman who did it in 5 months. Got to rank 9 in 5 months.
Has gone and all of the paths you've drawn have sunk to the ocean sun where no one can see. You stand on at the dark embrace, cower the dreams you chase under the rust and blood. Don't let yourself give up.
already have 4 families that have qualified for this conference in December. Go Google the Western Turtle Bay, Mauritius, and look at the resort we're staying at. It will blow your mind. Business class tickets, all expenses paid, trip for 7 days for you and your family, not as a once-off trip, every single year. Every single year. You get to take this trip with DuePoint. Don't have to have a family meeting to see how much money's in the bank account. Are we going to the Voldam or Mshlango this year? Don't have to worry about the exchange rate. All expenses paid, DuePoint. And your entire family. Can you imagine your children growing up only knowing business class flights? That sets the bar for them. Often the problem in life is that we settle for lower standards. When you expose your children to something like this, it sets their standards higher. That is invaluable. Invaluable. At rank 11, you get a car from DuePoint. It's a special car. It's a car that doesn't have a debit order at the end of the month. We buy it cash and we give it to you. No more T's and C's. No DuePoint stickers. You can see we're very serious about getting our wealth engineers to the status of becoming debt-free. This is only rank 11. We've already planned to rank 28. Like I said, we had one individual ranked 9 in 5 months. Again, how much time are you going to spend in this business? Another benefit for our wealth engineers is the Wealth Quest. This is something that we run every single month. It is a challenge that we issue to our wealth engineers every month. And for the month of May, the challenge is find 2 people under the age of 30 to join your channel successfully and assist them, support them in becoming qualified, which means you've got to help them find 3 people of their own each. It's tough convincing young people, right? They haven't even thought about retirement. These old people telling me I need to start thinking about financial freedom and retirement. I never thought about retirement when I was in my 20s. So that's the challenge, right? You get 2 under 30-year-olds in the business, help them get qualified. You'll have a large LED TV sitting in your lounge by the end of next month. And we run these every single month, right? We had 8 iPhones rewarded to wealth engineers just the other day. So more benefit to our wealth engineers. This slide basically explains our business model. Some people think we're spending far too much money on our wealth engineers. So very simply, that's the traditional business model. Most insurance companies engage with traditional marketing and advertising models. We get exposed to brands constantly all the time. You won't see a DuePoint logo outside of our building because we don't do a stitch of marketing or advertising, right? We rely on our wealth engineers to go tell people about what DuePoint does. So instead of spending the billions that the insurance industry spends on marketing and advertising, we instead take that portion of our premium and we give it to our wealth engineers in the form of returns and rewards. And that's basically how our business model works. What are the products? We've got 3 products. Like I said, they are intangible. They're all financial products. They've got very different benefits. So you can look at taking one product or all 3 products because the benefits are different. The first product is called Access Wealth. It is an investment product. It is 299 Rand a month, of which 100 Rand gets invested into a tax-free investment fund in your name. It's not a notice or a fixed deposit. You can draw that investment out within 72 hours at any stage. On top of that, we give you a little bit of insurance with this investment product. We give you 110,000 Rands worth of personal accident cover. Okay, so this is the investment product. The second product is called Wealth Guard. It is 274 Rand a month, and this is strictly an insurance product. It is only insurance. For 274 Rand a month, you get 1.1 million Rands worth of personal accident cover. The beauty of our personal accident cover is that it's accessible to anyone over the age of 18. So you can be 80 years old, you can be diabetic, you can still take out this product. It still costs 274, and the cover is still 1.1 million Rand. The third product is called Wealth Points. This product aims to save us money on the money we're spending every month anyway. Okay, 274 Rand a month allows you to engage with a list of suppliers that we have there. We've gone to those suppliers and negotiated discounts for our Wealth Points Buyers Club members. You see ShopRite Checkers there. I know everyone spends a fortune on groceries, right? So we've got ShopRite Checkers. You get 2.5% off your entire trolley at ShopRite Checkers. And that's just one of them. We've got Eagle Forward as a new one. Entertainer gives you 1.2 million rands worth of buy one, get one free vouchers to restaurants around the country, hotels around the world, spas. This list is growing all the time. We've just added Always On. So if you watch the presentation that we did on Saturday, Brendan announced Always On coming on as a partner, where we're going to be giving data to our Wealth Points Buyers Club members at 1/3 of the cost, right? Because this is very much a data-driven business. So if you want immediate benefit out of any of the products, this is a great product to have. If you have any questions around the products, come speak to me afterwards. I remind you of the support that you get here as a wealth engineer. Do not join this business and we don't see you or speak to you again. I want you to lean into the support. Everything that we've done in this business is to support our wealth engineers because it's in my interest to see you effective and successful, right? So we've got the live stream that leverages you from a geographic point of view. We've got thriving businesses around the country. This is the only office here in Joburg. So use the live stream to spread out into the other towns and provinces. The facilities are for our wealth engineers. You can use the auditorium to do your own presentations. We've got the boardrooms. You can have meetings here, breakout rooms. We've got free Wi-Fi. You can use all the free Wi-Fi you want. Free tea and coffee. Just be nice to Gertrude. That's all for our wealth engineers. Okay. The decision slide. We're at the end, guys. What was the decision we're going to make? For those of you that are interested in this opportunity, what is the real decision we need to make here? The people that are not interested in this, if you're not interested after 45 minutes of me bleeding on stage for you, that's fine. But the people that are interested in this business, what is the decision we're going to make? How is DuePoint going to fit into your life, into your week? You need to have a big enough why to get through this, right? Because I told you, this is a long-term commitment. I promise you there's going to be pain and frustration in the beginning of this business. Guaranteed. Even the guys, the most successful wealth engineers in our business, still come to complain to me in my office once a month, crying about this, and people aren't listening to them, and they're not doing that. This is business. There's no business without problems. The bigger your business gets, the bigger the problems you have. But the reward, the goal, is so worth it, right? And what is the goal? Is your goal big enough? Because that's something you're going to have to hold on to if you want to be successful in this business endeavor. Are we going to remain in the cycle hoping our circumstances are going to change? They're not going to change. Big macro indicators, those things take years to change. I'm not willing to wait for things to change. It's time we take accountability for our own lives and start making a difference to ourselves by sacrificing time that we don't usually have to sacrifice. And the platform is here. It's equal to everyone. Rank 9 is available to every single person in this room. Those 4 families that qualified, they once sat in exactly the same place as you. They started at rank 0. They got excited about rank 1. Get excited about rank 1. 55 Rand. If you can get to rank 1, you can get to rank 9. There's no change in behavior between the 8, the 9 ranks. It's the same thing. You just have to be persistent. So this is the opportunity. We make joining very easy. We've got iPads available. If you've got your own smartphone or tablet with you this evening, jump onto our homepage, www.duepoint.net. Click on the big blue apply button and you'll go through the application process. It takes about 7 minutes, after which you'll be a wealth engineer. You'll get sent an SMS and an email with your unique wealth engineer number. Get going. Challenge yourself. 24 hours to get to rank 1. Okay? We've got merchandise. This is not a profit center for us. These are tools to allow you to be effective in this business. Please consider getting business cards. The price list is on the counter there. The merchandise is on display in the cabinet. Power bank. If your phone dies too soon, the USB stick's very convenient because we've got our videos on there. So instead of asking people, friends, acquaintances to tune into the live stream, just give them a USB stick. It's got the videos of the intro presentations on there. That little pin represents people that are earning at DuePoint. Right? So buy one of those, like 40 Rand, wear it with pride. It signifies the people that are successful in this business. Notebook and a host of other aspects, merchandise that you can buy. I remind you, we've got a YouTube channel. All our video is on the YouTube channel. Every single video, training, intro presentations, interviews, everything that we've produced sits on this YouTube channel. subscribe to it. It'll let you know every time we do a live event, every time we load up a new presentation. We've got a mobile app that you can download once you become a wealth engineer that allows you to run this business from the palm of your hand. That app tells you everything that's going on in your business. You'll never have to open a computer or a laptop again. Guys, we're done. I thank you for your time. I hope it warms up a little bit this week. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I hope to see a lot of you again. Thank you.